I realized that it was starting to get on me when I would leave work and want to grab a drink. I feel like I want to forget that I'm going through this shit. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in on Stories and Status, a show in which we explore what it's like to be human. I'm literally cleaning out my desk as I set up for this because I just got home from a dinner with friends. It's currently 10:31. Let's get into this week's episode, which is about something that is really a period of my life that was really difficult. This is when I just moved to the United States. I moved to the United States, for everybody who don't know. I moved to the United States 2 years ago, 2 years-ish, and it was a rough few months. Obviously, like, it's a new country, it's a new culture, it's new people, new everything. When I came to the United States, I had a life. I had my family with me, back in Rwanda, had friends, people that I went to university with, people that I went to high school with, and I had a pretty stable job. I had started working at a non-profit organization and had been literally promoted like a month before I came to the United States. And when I moved to the United States, it was set for me to, it wasn't set, but I'd been promised that I'm going to continue working and I'll be working online, continue getting paid, but not a month. Only a month after, I got a notice basically that I wasn't going to continue working online. The job was being terminated. So I lost my job. I'm in a country without friends. Literally, I only knew a couple people and wasn't really close with them because even though they loved me and I loved them, I really hadn't made any genuine connection with them because we only had been together for a very short period of time. And I mean, in a new country, a whole new culture that I don't know nothing about except what I know from watching movies and watching shows and stuff. And I hadn't been interested in learning about other people's cultures like I am now. The first few months after losing the job felt like being thrown in the jungle with no map, literally being thrown in the Amazon with no map to go back home and figure it out. Yeah, I didn't have any map on how to make it. How do you build back up, after leaving everything that I knew behind, meaning from people, the culture that I grew up in, my family, my friends, and literally my job, and literally having to start from scratch. That was crazy. It was a really weird thing to navigate. So because I didn't have a car, I started I applied for a job where the people that I knew were working, and I told this story before on my YouTube channel, but I was literally working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for about 3 months straight. And that was difficult, but not because 12 12 hours a day is like such a big deal. I'm working right now at 10:45 and had been working all day. So I pretty much work way more than 12 hours. So it wasn't like a big deal, but the big deal was that the job that I was working, even though I'm grateful that I got the job, and it allowed me to, basically set the foundation for everything that I have now, and buy the car and be able to, find a different job and set up a different life. And if it wasn't for that job, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now. But the weird thing is because it didn't have anything to do with what I went to school for, right? I knew that I had a college. I went to university. I had like education, whatever, and the fact that I left a job in Rwanda that were aligned with what I wanted to do, not just because I went to school for communications and I was doing communications. It's actually what I like to do. I like to write. I like to make videos. I'm making videos right now. So it's what I like to do. And it wasn't anything related to what I liked. It was a job that I had to use, physical manpower, I guess that's how you would say it. And it was weird because for the first time in my life, I started drinking pretty late. My first alcoholic drink, was I think my second year of university. So I had been sober for all these years, and because of how I grew up and different things that I don't want to go into. But I'd never been the kind of person who drinks to forget the pain that I'm going through. And I've had a lot of painful moments or painful experiences, but I'd never been the person who runs to drinking, or runs to I don't know, vices, different vices, I guess. It's not just drinking. But for the first time, I would leave work, because I was working overnight. I'd leave work at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's when I knew that it was starting like to get on me. It was starting to be like that lifestyle of working basically all night and sleeping all night, or sleeping all day, and all the shit that I was navigating, new things that I was going through and stuff. I realized that it was starting to get on me when I would leave work and want to grab a drink. I feel like I want to forget that I'm going through this shit. And especially when I started, applying for jobs that had something to do with what I went to school for, and would, get rejected. I was getting rejected like left and center. I thought it was going to be easy. Like when I first moved, was coming to the United States, I was very excited, thinking that I have a United States degree and that's going to make it very easy for me to get a job and whatever. I couldn't have been more wrong. Like it was really, really difficult. I was getting rejected a lot, and maybe it had something to do with because I was, making applications after I had, after coming from work, and I'm not in the right mindset. I was pretty sleep deprived because I wouldn't sleep. It was literally like a reverse schedule of how I'm used to sleep. I'm used to sleep during the night and working during the day. I was working during the night and sleeping during the day, and I wouldn't sleep very well. Obviously, the drinks wouldn't help if I when I started, drinking after work. I can't believe I'm even like talking about this because it sounds terrible. Thank God that's no longer the case. And it wasn't like very bad. It would be like one drink or two drinks, but because it wasn't something that I'm used to, like I've never been that kind of person. I'm not the kind of person who go to drinks to I don't know, numb emotions and stuff. Yeah, because life was just like so. I guess I would only say like it was different. It was different in a weird way that I end up like observing behaviors in me that I had never seen, like the side of me, that side of me that wants to run to drinking that I'd never seen. And it was really, really weird. I was very, very skinny. Obviously, I wasn't eating as well as I should. Now I'm pretty dialed on like how I take care of myself. Making sure that I eat enough and eat the right kind of food, and I'm learning how to cook so that I can make like healthy stuff. Now I take care of myself. Back then I wasn't doing any of that. Literally would only eat whatever is available. I was eating a lot of noodles, which is probably the least healthy thing that you can eat. I remember I was literally telling this story to my brother earlier, but I remember I had started like, this is like fast forward a couple months, started learning photography and videography, which is basically the beginning of like me, I guess, moving away from that lifestyle, because I was like, I gotta do something. I have to learn new skills. I have to do something that is going to allow me to get the kind of job that I want, and hopefully get out of this lifestyle. Obviously, I knew that wasn't the way that I wanted to live. I've always like been ambitious and wanted to do things, and the slippery slope of me grabbing a drink in the morning was like a very loud warning that if you continue down this road, it's going to be a pretty bad ending that I don't necessarily want. And started learning photography and videography. Shout out to my guy Bunny, who basically took me on as a second photographer whenever he could. Started working with him. But I remember being on it was a photo shoot for, I think, a wedding or something. I was talking to him and two girls were talking about something, and I don't know how it came up, and for some reason we spoke about our skins. One of the girls, I don't even remember her name, but I'll never forget that moment. She looks at me and literally scans me quickly, which wasn't like, being too obvious about it. But she looks at me and goes, "He looks ashy." I felt like I wanted to crawl and, like, I don't know, disappear. Like that, with how they ask a question, if you had a superpower, like what superpower would you have? I would, yeah, in that moment, I would have loved to have an ability to disappear. And yeah, it was brutal. I don't even know if she was trying to be rude. I don't know if she I guess I don't know. I don't judge her because they the way that the sad truth is that she probably was right. It was clear that I, looked horrible probably, and that was a wake up call. The moment I realized that something needed to change though was when I started working a different job. So I moved from the 12 to 12 no 6 p.m to 6 a.m job, and got another job where I was a little bit flexible. It wasn't not a little bit, it was a lot more flexible than the job that I was doing. And I was working with a nonprofit organization, and one day on my way to seeing a client, I stopped by a basketball court. It had been around 6 to 7 months since I did anything like fitness or workout related. I had never worked out since moving to the United States. I had never been running, had never done anything to exercise basically. And that would be shocking to people who knew me before I moved to the United States, because I've always been an active person. In high school, I played basketball, played volleyball before that. I was playing basketball in university here and there. Not like the best player or whatnot, but like I've always been pretty active and used to run a lot. And yeah, so I've always been active, but up until that point, after moving to the US, I'd never done anything to work out or to do exercise, not even at home, not even push-ups, dude. I wasn't taking care of myself. And I go playing with these kids. They're like, I think one was like 7, another like 12 or something, so they're pretty young. And I try to hoop, and I think I only spent like a minute to 2 minutes, but I felt like I was about to drop. I literally felt like I was, I don't know, 50 years old. It was really a wake-up call. I left that place and said, from today, I'm going to sign up to a gym membership. Literally that same night, I signed up to a gym membership, the gym membership that I have now, and was like, I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start taking my health seriously, because if I continue like this, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was about to drop. I felt like I was about to die. And it was the first time I've ever felt like that. That's when I realized that I wasn't like really healthy. Like I wasn't taking care of myself. It's insane how much you feel good even when you're not feeling good, or maybe you get used to feeling, I don't know, unhealthy. Excuse me. That you end up not doing anything about it, because I don't know, that's how you don't know. It's like you don't know how unhealthy feels like if you're used to being unhealthy. It's really weird. Yeah, I get a gym membership and don't go because yes, I'd been always active and played basketball and did all the things, but I hadn't really been to the gym, and going to the gym was pretty intimidating in a way. I think I spoke about it on the podcast, but being skinny or growing up skinny had always been, for me at least, like a huge source of insecurity. And the idea that I would go to the gym, especially after not being able to hoop for more than 2 minutes. And I didn't know how to use the gym equipments, didn't know how to navigate it. Yes, I could look it up, which I did, and try to learn as much as I could. That's what I spent the month doing, is like trying to look up different fitness gurus and learning as much as I could about, fitness and equipments, and where should I start, and which muscle group to work on first, and what should I eat, and how much should I weigh. It's a lot of things that now I take for granted because I've put in the work and put in the time and navigate the gym pretty well. But literally the first day, I just I don't even know what I did, because I didn't know what to do. But I was like, if I'm ever going to do this, I'm gonna have to have a first day, and probably the first day is going to suck, and in my head people are going to look at me weird. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody cared. They were all busy trying to, work out and do their thing. So all that was a story that I was telling myself, but it was a real story because it was something that I'd never done before, and it felt daunting. But I'm so grateful that I took my own freaking advice and went. And as terrifying, and it's so weird that I say that it was terrifying, but I hope somebody out there felt the same thing, because then I don't feel weird and alone. But it felt terrifying, and I'm so grateful that I did that, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have went on a journey that I went on, which freaking saved my life. Because going to the gym kicked off, you can't really go to the gym and live unhealthy at the same time, especially if you're consistent, as consistent as I've gone. After the first day, I literally went almost every single day for the following 12 months, meaning 2023 to 2024. I went almost every single day and try to learn as much as I could about eating healthy, and started learning how to cook, and started educating myself about health and everything. And it's addicting when you feel good from taking yourself, or when you feel healthy, especially after knowing how feeling unhealthy felt. It was like night and day. It was a wild difference. It was a huge difference, and thank God I went. Thank God I committed to working out every single day, and still try to put in the work to work hard. For me, it's not that I'm going to look physically good, or all the bullshit metrics that I can sometimes get in my head for, that I want to add on this much muscle or whatever. But for me, the point of working out is just being healthy. Is try, even the idea that I'm taking care of myself is a big enough benefit. It did so much on not only me making progress from that miserable lifestyle to a more healthy lifestyle, but there's nothing in my life that helped me boost my confidence in myself and respect for myself, therefore building my confidence, than than working out. First was working out, and second was getting good at telling stories, which I still, do a terrible job, but I've gotten so much better. And getting comfortable speaking on camera, still difficult, but it's gotten so much better. And the progress I've made, working out and being able to stay consistent for this long, and the progress I've made, like getting good at telling stories and staying consistent for this long, regardless of like the humble beginnings of when I literally started recording on my phone. Those two things in combination saved my fucking life. It was because I started making videos that I got the job that I have now, no doubt. It's just like, I have I have so much gratitude to me for and I don't know, like, sounds woo saying I have so much gratitude to me, whatever, but I do. Because if I hadn't done that, man, like, it wouldn't have turned out good. Honestly, the reason why I tell the story to, wrap up, is because I know everybody, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday, everybody goes through some very life-changing experience, like an experience that really alter how you, like, not even like alter how you see the world, but take you through shit, like really challenges you and challenges your character and challenges your ability to rise up and, do whatever it takes. The message, I guess, would be like to bet on yourself and not give up on you, regardless of how shitty like you might be, and maybe don't recognize yourself and start, doing shit that you wouldn't do, like, me starting to drink, not because I'm hanging out with people, which is what I always, did. Only drank when I was, having fun with people, and that was like the drinking for me. But when I started like drinking by myself, and drinking by yourself is not necessarily a problem, but when you're drinking to numb in emotion, that's why it gets like really crazy, because you start like depending on it. And thank God I didn't do that. I didn't, get to a point where I could depend on it. And what life would I be living now? What could have happened? It's crazy. So if you're going through that kind of thing now, life, those are, it's tricky, it's cheesy, it's whatever, but there's a life, there's a light always at the end of the tunnel. And if you trust in yourself now and like do some form of healthy thing that you can replace the stuff that would completely destroy your life, instead of drinking, instead of smoking, instead of using other vices that you could use, I don't know, try pick up a new skill and try to learn it, something that you can get lost in. For me, that was creating content and going to the gym. Maybe something else works for you, but yeah, man, you gotta figure out something you can do. Life is difficult. It's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that's not going well, and knowing what to do in the meantime is where it's at. knowing how you navigate the in between, the ups and downs is a very, very useful skill. And I'm glad that I got to at least exercise my muscle. Hopefully this relate to someone, and hopefully I shared it in a way that it can be useful. Yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for this week. Thank you so much. By the way, a new thing, an exciting thing that I wanted to share as well is at the beginning of this year, I set a goal that I would start benching not the dumbbells, the barbells, benching 65 kilo. I don't know if that's how you call it exactly, but 65, not kilo, pounds. And at the time when I said that I was starting to bench 40, I think, if not 45. And yesterday I benched 50 pounds. So we're only 15 pounds to go. I think I can bench it, but I don't want to hurt myself. So I try to go, increasingly, slowly increase the amount of weight that I lift. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.